There is a secret to becoming one of the top names in your industry, and it's all possible to achieve without having millions of followers, spending thousands of dollars on PR, or begging anybody to take you seriously. Because the truth is that in every industry, people at the top are usually the ones that are either signing the most clients or making the most money, and it's never because they're the most talented. Arguably, most of them are even less talented than you. And that's simply because at the end of the day, it comes down to one thing: who people know. Now, before we get into this, I want to be clear on one thing. There is a difference between being famous and being industry famous. Being famous just means a lot of people know your name, but being industry famous means the right people know who you are. And in business, that's actually what makes you money. So over the next few minutes, I'll be walking you through a 5-step process in order for you to become famous in your industry this very year. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Cheteke, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do. Now, the first step is to pioneer a framework. Every person who's truly famous has a signature concept attached to their name. Now, although you can't own a concept, you can pioneer one. Whenever you hear the 10x rule, only one name comes to mind: Grant Cardone. If we're talking about building a story brand, Donald Miller comes to mind. Whenever you provide your industry with a unique and valuable solution, you become the person who shapes the lens through which every single person in the industry looks at that particular topic because you brought it into light. That's actually what helps you easily stand out. Everyone in the online space views offers and free value through Alex Hormozi's lens, simply because he's the one that actually championed it. It's not even that those ideas didn't exist before him. They did. In fact, one of my favorite scriptures is in the book of Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9, which says that there is nothing new under the sun. What set him apart is not inventing ideas, but packaging them, championing them, and communicating them so effectively that they became strongly associated with his name. So if you want to stand out in your space, whether it's in business, whether it's in finance, or even if you're doing something like cookery, don't just repeat the same recycled information that every single person copies from each other. Create a process, a framework, or a method that your brand will become known for, and you leave a lasting impression on your industry. For example, on this channel, I always talk about my brand mastery framework, which helps people build profitable personal brands using 3 core pillars. Now, the nuance is this: if you want the framework you pioneer to be something that the industry actually adopts, it needs to have 5 key elements. The first is that it needs to be useful. This doesn't mean you need to create the next law of motion. It simply means identifying a genuine issue in your industry that they are facing and then presenting a clear solution. For example, many people in the info space struggle to sign clients consistently. So if your concept directly addresses that pain point, it immediately becomes valuable. The second step is it has to be simple. It needs to be easy to understand and easy to share. If the average person can't grasp what you're saying, it's too complicated. Too many people hide behind big words and complex phrases just to sound intelligent, forgetting that there is virtue in simplicity. The third is that it needs to be repeatable. It has to be something that other people can also apply, not just something that only works for you. Your solution must be replicatable. If it depends entirely on your own unique circumstances, then nobody else can replicate it. It's like telling people to be born from a rich family. That can never work for them. The fourth point is it has to be visible. People need to see it often, hear it often, and associate it with you. And finally, it has to be credible, simply meaning it has to be backed with results, whether through your own results or your client's success wins, or some clear proof that you have to show that what you are giving people actually works. That is the 5 key elements, and those are the 5 key elements that you need to create a concept that people trust, remember, and ultimately adopt. Now remember, you don't need to invent something entirely new. You just need a framework that people can remember, share, and come back to because it sticks. So whether you call it shadow operating, growth operating, brand scaling, or niche hopping, make sure it's something that your audience remembers you by. The second step is to engineer your visibility. Every industry has its own watering holes, which simply means the place where you can get attention. For some, it's live webinars. For others, it's LinkedIn. For others, it may be community-driven platforms like Facebook. But regardless of the platform, if you want to be known by the right people, you need to be consistently visible through that channel. Waiting to be discovered won't get you anywhere. You can't just post and then hope the right person stumbles across your content. That could have worked maybe in 2016, but in today's world, that's a terrible strategy because it's based on luck. People that are industry famous don't wait for visibility, they engineer it. They always put themselves in rooms where their ideal clients or audience is so that they can distribute their message at scale. One of the best ways to do this is through podcasting and interviews. Whenever you appear on a podcast or an interview with someone that already has the audience you want, you create a shortcut straight through to your target market. Branding, when broken down to its lowest term, is simply association. So the right person and the right audience and associations will allow you to fast track your way to the top of your industry far quicker than trying to do it alone. Instead of spending years building trust, you can leverage the credibility and attention that somebody else has already earned with their own audience. That is worth far more than getting 10,000 followers that will never buy anything from you. Another thing you can do is mass content distribution. Now in today's world, they call it clipping, which is essentially taking pieces of content and making multiple shorter versions of them and spreading them across every social media channel. That essentially gives you somewhat of an omnipresent brand. If you look at many of the people dominating their industries, they all understand the power of distribution. Even people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Alex Hormozi all have their content repurposed into multiple short-form channels that they use to capture attention. The lesson in that is simple. Success today isn't just about creating great content, it's about distribution. That means getting your content everywhere to the right people. Now, obviously, doing this at a higher level requires a team, and that's exactly what my personal branding agency, Brand Mastery, does. So if you're serious about becoming the leading name in your industry through mass content distribution, just click the link in the description and book in a free strategy call with me and my team, and we'll see how we can take you from point A to point B. With that being said, that moves us to our third step. Repeat one message. People always need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. The biggest mistake people make when trying to become industry famous is talking about too many things. Trump has been saying the same thing about trade and borders since the 1980s. Tony Robbins has had one message for decades, which is human potential. Just potential, over and over again. Brian Johnson has been saying the same thing since day one, which is simply that humans can live forever. Repetition is a key element of branding because it reinforces what you stand for. You don't need to say 1,000 things. You just need to say one thing 1,000 times until people get it over and over again. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is branding. So figure out the thing that you want to be known for in your industry. Say it until people start saying it for you, and then recognize that you are the same person that champions that concept. The fourth step is to build social proof strategically. Nobody wants to be the first person to take you seriously. That is just human nature. If I wanted to learn how to bake, of which of course I don't, I would look for a real professional, somebody that's actually shown that they know how to do it in the kitchen. Because without proof, I'm not believing you can help me. And this is where a lot of young entrepreneurs don't get it. They launch a program and the first thing on their mind is to start flexing on Instagram, posting rented Lamborghinis and fake lifestyles. If you're trying to sell to someone that's not a broke college student, then showing them a Lamborghini is nothing. You don't see JP Morgan flexing their monthly earnings on YouTube. They don't need to, because their credibility doesn't directly come from proving that they have money. It comes from their track record. Authority in any industry isn't built by trying to look rich. It's built by being undeniably good at what you do and having the proof to back up your claim. The fifth step is to be consistent long enough to become familiar. Familiarity builds trust, and trust builds reputation. And from that, reputation builds industry fame. None of it happens overnight, but it all compounds. And according to Albert Einstein, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. The biggest lie that people tell themselves when they're trying to build their name in an industry is that they need a shortcut, as though they need some kind of strategy or secret hack that's going to get them recognized overnight. And I get it, because the internet is full of people selling the exact same promise over and over to people repetitively until they get tired of it. The people that are genuinely industry famous in their spaces are not there because they went viral. They're there because they showed up again and again consistently long enough to the point where most people would have given up until the right people just simply couldn't ignore them anymore. When somebody sees your name, hears your voice, reads your perspective enough times, something shifts, and people do business with people that they either like, know, and trust. That's just human nature. You are not failing. You are just not familiar yet. Keep going, keep staying specific, keep being consistent, and let your results speak for themselves. Because the fastest way to become industry famous is simply by being specific about what you do, consistent in how you show up, and generous with what you know. Now, if you would like my help in making your brand industry famous, just click the link below in the description to schedule a free strategy session with me, and we'll see how I can help you go to that next level.